So today we're going to kick off a series that will happen every 2 weeks where we are going to power rank each of the VCT teams in their own leagues. We're going to be basing this one off what my predictions were for the leagues. And so let's just dive straight in and we'll start with Pacific. And for those of you who don't know, this is what the Pacific League currently looks like. DRX T1, Genji, Team Secret have all won both of their games. PaperX and Zeta are 1-1. And Global, Detonation, Rex Regum, and Talon have not yet won a game. And so this is where I had the teams from my prediction video in the VCT Pacific League. Some of them are right, I think, and some of them are very, very wrong. So let's change this based upon what we have seen in the 2 games played so far. So I had DRX number 1, and of course I'm going to be sticking with DRX number 1. They were pushed by Global Esports in their game. 2 very close maps there against Global, but they did come out on top. They haven't dropped a map yet, and I think most of us would agree, yep, DRX number 1 just makes sense. Now, Genji were in number 2, and actually I'm going to keep them there at number 2 as well. They have won both of their games. They did not look great in their game against Detonation, particularly on Fracture, but they did still come away with the win, and I think overall I've been impressed enough to keep them there for now. It very well could change, but I'm happy enough with keeping Genji second for now. Here's where we started to get the changes though, because I did have PaperX in third, but PaperX can no longer stay in third. They lost to the team that I am going to put in third instead. So for now, let's swap PaperX and Team Secret, because Team Secret were able to overcome PaperX. It was, a close game. All the maps were fairly close, but Team Secret did come out on top, and I think it's fair to say that overall they've probably looked like the better team, so I'm happy to put Team Secret in third, and for now we'll move PaperX down to fifth. Now here really is the one that I don't really know what to do with, which is Talon. Talon, of course, had a really, really good lock-in, but then they've lost their first 2 games, and some of those games weren't even close. They're changing, they're swapping in roster, they have this kind of 6-man rotating roster on different maps, and it doesn't seem to really be working, and it's very odd, and I don't really know where to put them. They obviously need to come down from 4th, but I'm not sure how far down I should actually put them. One thing that I do know, though, is that this 4th spot is probably between T1 and PaperX. T1 I had down at 9th. That was a mistake. To be fair, that was based off a pretty poor showing of both Red Bull Homeground and then at lock-in as well, and so I thought that my ranking was pretty fair, that they just looked a bit lost. But then in their games, they've won both of their games. They've looked so much better, unbelievably better since lock-in. So yeah, they're definitely on the right track, T1. And really the debate is who comes in 4th here. Is it PaperX or is it T1? Now, interestingly, PaperX and T1 play each other this next game. So that, I guess, will be the decider of who actually, should be in 4th place. And Benkai did come into my chat and call me Ron Weasley's dad and called me a muggle. Despite this, I am a very compassionate, kind, caring individual, and therefore, I still believe that PaperX will win that game. And so I'm still going to put PaperX in 4th, but T1 definitely in 5th and could be moving up even further as well. Then we come to who should be in 6th, and I think that this really comes down to these 3 teams here, Talon, Zeta, and Global, and I think a lot of you will have these in a different order, right? If you're from India, you'll probably put Global in 6th. If you're from Japan, you'll probably put Zeta in 6th. And if you're from Thailand, you'll probably put Talon in 6th. For me, this is very, very tricky, but I actually think what we've seen so far, despite the fact they've lost both games and that they don't have their full roster, I think actually Global have looked like the 6th best team. So I am going to put them in 6th place. Now, in 7th place, again, you could have a debate over Talon versus Zeta. I've been pretty disappointed in Talon and what we've seen so far. It just seems like things just aren't working. I can't really understand it. I don't think that the roster changes are helping them when people are subbing in and out, particularly. And so I think that I am going to put Zeta in 7th, and then I am going to put Talon in 8th, and then the final debate is who's coming in 9 and 10. I know a lot of you, based off Detonation, being able to, take a map off Gen G and looking pretty good in that one, will think, hey, they should be above Rex. But actually, I am going to stick with Rex in 9th. These 2 teams play against each other as well. So again, this will be a bit of a referendum on how it's going. But I am going to stick with Rex Regum in 9th and Detonation in 10th. And now let's move on to EMEA. And if you don't know, this is what the EMEA League currently looks like. Fnatic and Vitality are the only two teams that have won both games. Then there's a ton of teams that have won one and lost one. And then BBL and Giants are the only two teams that have not won a game yet. So this is where I had the teams based on my prediction. And again, I think some teams are in the wrong place. So let's dive into this. First off, we can come to the top of the leaderboard. And Fnatic was still winning with a sub. Navi were experimenting and losing some stuff. I'm still going to put Navi second. I'm not going to move them further than second. But Fnatic, it seems like, do deserve the top spot. Now, third place, I think third place in EMEA is going to be an interesting debate for a long, long time between what I would guess will be these three teams. I initially put Koi there, but I think it would be hard to argue right now that it isn't Vitality, who looked like a pretty solid team. They just beat Koi as well. So, yeah, I do think Vitality will be my third place team for now. Then comes to the debate of who should be in fourth, and I am going to lean with Koi over Team Liquid. The reason I'm going to lean Koi is because Koi managed to beat Navi 2-0. I mean, that's no mean feat, right? That's quite tough, even if one game did go to overtime. Then they played Vitality, so they've had two pretty tricky games, and they lost in overtime on Fracture to Vitality, so I'm not going to kill them for that. Liquid lost a map in both of their series, one to Foot, and they played Vitality as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go for Koi fourth, Liquid fifth. This could very well change based on upcoming results, but, you know, I think third to fifth, these teams are probably pretty close. And when it comes to sixth, this, again, you could make an argument for, you know, maybe all of these teams that are left to finish in sixth. I still am going to go for Giants, despite the fact that they haven't won a game yet or anything like that. The scheduling gods were not kind to Giants in the least. They had to play Fnatic and Navi in the first 2 weeks, and now they have to play against Koi as well. So they have really had probably one of the hardest schedules you could have to start this league season. But I don't think they're that bad of a team. I don't think they're that far off. I still think that they are better than the rest of the teams on this list. And then we come to these last four teams, and how to rank these last four teams, I have no idea, because you could make an argument for all four of them being seventh, right? Like, hey, Carmine beat BBL. Hey, BBL played Fnatic really close. So, you know, I mean, that's got to be worth something, right? Hey, Foot have won a game. Heretics destroyed Carmine. Like, there's arguments for all of them to be in seventh. I think I'm going to stick with Foot, just because from what we saw at Lock-In as well, I think we have the longer established time period of them looking like a solid team. Although I have massive map pool concerns for them, to be honest. Some of their maps against Liquid were not good. They weren't good. And so then we have the other three coming 8th, 9th, and 10th. But I mean, again, you could put any of these teams 7th, and I wouldn't really disagree with you. I think what I'm going to do is I'm still gonna stick with what I kind of initially had, which was BBL 10th. I'm going to put Carmine in 9th because Heretics did destroy Carmine. Carmine played a decent game in their first game and then trolled against Heretics, which gave them the win. But I honestly have no idea where to put these teams. BBL, they did play Fnatic close, but I feel like I don't want to give out, you know, stickers for losing a game. You know, go and win the game. How about that? And then I would have given you big stickers. You would have been at least 7th BBL had you beat Fnatic. Very much so. Maybe even 6th, to be honest. So yeah, from 6 to 10, honestly, you could organize these teams in a lot of ways, but this is what I'm going to go for. Now, obviously, for Americas, this is going to be a bit more tricky because they started a week later and didn't have a super week like EMEA did, so they are a game behind, essentially. So we only have one game to go off, which isn't a ton, but obviously in 2 weeks' time when we do this, we'll have 3 games to go off, and yeah, you know, it should be a bit more clear by then, but we will still do the ranking based off the one game that we did see. And so this was my prediction ranking for the Americas. I had Loud at the number 1 spot, and I think I definitely am going to keep them there. Now, NRG I had in 2nd, but I think it would be tough to argue. I've got Leviathan 3rd, and Leviathan just 2-0'd NRG, so I feel like, you know, that seems like a pretty normal response. Now, NRG play Sentinels in this next game, so I don't think I'm gonna move NRG below 4th. But should I put Sentinels above NRG based off what we saw? I mean, that would be quite the leap and jump for Sentinels, but I don't think I'm going to do it. So Sentinels, I'm going to keep 4, and I've got Furia in 5th. Now, This is kind of a weird one where I want Sentinels and 100 Thieves to be right next to each other because that game was literally as close as a game could be, right? Those two teams played a game. The two maps went to overtime. The one that didn't was 13-11. Like, it was literally the closest game possible. So I'm wondering whether to move Furia down, but that feels a bit harsh because they beat Crew, you know, fairly convincingly. Okay, Split was a bit close, but, you know, on Ascent, they kind of destroyed them, and so I'm going to leave it as is for now, 4, 5, 6. But again, you could make arguments either way. But it's towards the bottom of the list that really I think changes need to be had. The top 6, I think I got, you know, pretty decently well. But from 7 to 10, we need to make some changes, okay? Let's start off with our 7th place team here, EG, who have to be coming down. Down to where? Not quite sure, but obviously they lost to Cloud9, so, and you know, Cloud9 did look like the better team in that game, so Cloud9 have to be above them. Crew had a pretty bad loss to Furia. I don't think Crew looked too impressive, and so I am going to move Crew down to the 10th spot. I'm just not really, you know, feeling Crew right now. It might take a bit of time before they, you know, really start to become a competitive team with the changes they made as well. So I'm going to put Crew in 10th. MIBR actually, I think, looked quite improved against Loud, right? They took a map off Loud. They didn't look too bad. So I'm actually going to put MIBR in 7th, Cloud9 8th, EG 9th, and Crew 10th. You could very well make an argument for Cloud9 being above MIBR here. That's absolutely fine. You know, I wouldn't necessarily argue with that. Maybe I just need to see a bit more from Cloud9 because I still think it's a bit of an unknown truly how good Cloud9 are. And so those were my bi-weekly power rankings. We will be doing this in 2 weeks' time as well. You know, we'll have even more data to go off there as well and kind of talk about where these teams are. Let me know what you would do with the power rankings, where you would put teams, who have I overrated, who have I underrated, and let me know in the comments down below.